Tonight on Alaska's News Source, it's the closing day of the Senior Native Youth Olympics. We're checking in on teams from Western Alaska. Plus, storytelling told in silence. Some at UAF are gathering to share through sign language.
And an unseasonably large spring storm has made landfall in Western Alaska and is now heading to Southcentral.
You're watching Alaska's News Source.
Today is the third and final day of competition at the 2026 Senior Native Youth Olympics. But as Charlie Fellows shows us, for some, the games transcend winning and losing.
The third and final day of the 2026 Native Youth Olympics. One final chance for athletes and teams from villages all across Alaska to vie for gold. But for two villages in particular, these games mean more than just competition.
It's unexplainable. It's amazing.
A team representing the Southwest Alaska villages of Kipnuk and Kwigillingok at this year's games was not a foregone conclusion. The two towns, ravaged by former Typhoon Halong in October, needed some help to get the squad organized, and got some.
It's been through a lot of support, like I said, from Anchorage school districts. The students expressed how they wanted to be able to represent their villages, and so with the support of Anchorage schools, we've been able to put this together. Now, evacuees from Kipnuk and Quig get a chance to do something familiar, reminiscent of a less chaotic time.
It's so exciting to see not only them having a bond with each other, but realizing that there's kids here that are like them and that everyone's here to help each other. It's awesome to see when they're going to do an event, someone comes out and helps them. But to see all the littles come and to see even families, like we've had all sorts of families come and they're like sitting there cheering on their team and they're in pride. And it's just the little kids are like, oh, we can do that someday.
Continuing my culture is kind of important to me, and this is my favorite sport. I'm being supported by so many people that I don't really know. This is my second year here, too. But this year is different.
And with families cheering them on, everything feels a little bit more like normal.
It makes me feel happy.
In what has been a storm of uncertainty, these games offering an island of familiarity. Charlie Fellows, Alaska's News Source.
The games are wrapping up with a closing ceremony that is set to be starting about now. And through the week, our weather team has been tracking the next big storm. Meteorologist Bailey Braun has the details. Bailey?
Yeah, thank you, Michaela. We have been tracking this unseasonably large storm across Western Alaska, and it's now beginning to move into the interior and even into Southcentral. Now, as we look at those headlines, of course, we know that this storm is fairly large, and for Western Alaska, those impacts will have been felt through the day today and even for tomorrow. But for Southcentral, it's really going to impact most of your Sunday. So as we look ahead, you can see lots of that snow making its way across the Kuskokwim Delta, even reaching into the interior. But eventually, by Sunday morning, that's when it will reach into Southcentral, mostly impacting in terms of that heavy rainfall into the Copper River Basin. But the whole region can expect more of that rain and even some of that snow into areas like Talkeetna, even moving north into the interior. That's where most of that snow is expected. But wind is also going to be an impact from this storm. We'll start to see those winds picking up as the afternoon approaches, with gusts up to about 30 and even 40 miles per hour. The heaviest amounts of, or strongest wind gusts will begin to reach into areas like Western Alaska and especially along the Aleutian chain. So for tomorrow, brace for some of that rain to move through Anchorage and some of those scattered snow showers with a little bit of that rain mixed in into areas like the interior and for Fairbanks. But for Southeast, that's where some of that rain's starting to push out. You're not really going to have to deal with that by the afternoon hours, but for that rainfall tracker into Southcentral, some lighter amounts of rain expected through the morning, but then by the end of the day, that's when you can expect up to about 1/4 inch of rainfall into Anchorage, but much heavier amounts of rainfall and even some of that snow mixed in into areas like the Copper River Basin and the eastern side of the Kenai Peninsula. For the rest of the state, heavier amounts of precipitation will be moving through Western Alaska as that storm begins to make its way out and carrying into Southcentral. So for tomorrow, those high temperatures reaching up around 40 degrees for Anchorage, a little sunnier into areas like Kodiak, but southeast, you're starting to dry off by the afternoon with more of that wet weather on the way for Fairbanks.
Some stories come without words and sounds, but are instead just sights. Those stories were shared at the University of Alaska Fairbanks this week, but they weren't silent films. Adrian Peterson shares The Stories of Sign, a live production organized by the UAF Sign Language Program.
Even those that don't speak the language can follow parts of the stories shared by the deaf community. Stories told through ASL, American Sign Language.
In deaf culture, like stories and jokes are passed down for generations, so a lot of the jokes that were told tonight are passed down from different generations of deaf people, and so getting to tell those stories and continue them on is really important.
Even without sound, there was still laughter. But it's the ability to share these stories that matter the most.
I remember coming to these events as an ASL 1 student, and I did not know anything that was being said, but one day I guess I kind of realized that I understood most of what was being said.
Stories that share the experience of the hearing impaired.
It helps connect with the hearing community. So it bridges our worlds and our communities. And it shows the hearing community that deaf people are really the same as them.
Being able to showcase ASL stories is also something Brinkley hopes will expand the language to the hearing community.
You know, often hearing people will meet a deaf person and are scared and they don't know what to do or how to communicate. And then they come and take a class and learn sign and they realize, oh, it's not that hard. I can learn sign. So I'm hoping also that hearing people here will connect and partner, with the deaf community.
And for those learning ASL, it opens the door to sharing these stories with hearing audiences too. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.